Let's start here, that dramatic and rapid adjournment of the State Capture Commission after a security scare Thursday evening. This during testimony from Nomcule Gigaba, the estranged wife of the former minister Malusi Gigaba. She was responding to her husband's affidavit in which he described her earlier testimony as blatant lies and total fabrication. She in turn has stood by her testimony that her husband was a frequent visitor to the Guptas and was under pressure to do their bidding. She says Gigaba kept her informed of his visits to the Guptas. Mngoma was testifying at the state capture inquiry.
Did you know, on your version, how often Mr. Gigaba was going to the Guptas?
In my knowledge, he used to go there a lot. It's not true that he went there maybe
my question is, how did you know?
He told me.
I see. Well, what would he typically tell you?
He will tell me that he's going to see his advisors, or he will say he's going to see AJ. And there were times where he will go there with his bodyguards without me, and there were times he will ask me to go with him. All right. So we were forever, most of the time we were forever there.
When we deal with...
I'm sorry. Are you able to give an indication of about how many times he may have gone there with you over the period, leaving out occasions when he told you that he had been there, but you had to rely on his word. You were not there to see whether he was indeed there. So, but the times when you were there with him at the Gupta residence, are you able to give an indication?
I can say an estimation because I don't know exactly the number, but I know it's more than 20 times. It's a lie that it was 4 or 3 times. Yes. Because we used to go there when Malusi have meetings, then I will sit and wait for him to finish meetings. And sometimes we'll go there for lunch where we will just sit with AJ, with their son, and also with the wife.
Well, many allegations are coming through. One of the things that Nomcule Gigaba is saying is that her estranged husband was under so much pressure from the Guptas to make decisions that he didn't agree with, that he developed terrible migraines. Malusi Gigaba denying this emphatically. So it's very much a case of he said, she said, but she is emphatically denying that her evidence is unreliable. He, of course, accusing her of lying to the state capture inquiry rather, because she's a bitter spouse who's going through a divorce.
It reminded him, because I remember in Parliament, I think it was in 2017, because he resigned in 2018. I think it was EFF, they asked him how many times he has been there. He said he doesn't recall, but 2-3 times. And I remembered him on that. I remembered in that evening, I was asking him, why I said you were there 2 times, because we were always there all the time. So he didn't want to answer me on that day. So when he said the person was there to delete, then I said, I don't want to do that. And then it ended there on that day. I didn't give him my gadgets. And then, so I think a few weeks on the...
Please would you speak into the microphone so I can hear you.
Sorry. So then I refused to give him my gadgets, because for me, I felt like why he must delete the information. So I thought it was easier for him to come to the commission to tell the truth so that we don't have to come up and team up. And also I asked him the other thing. I was like, why we can't divorce just because you are going to the commission? Because I didn't understand how I get involved with the commission. Because commission has never called me. There's nothing that involves me with any SOCs or with his work, because I've never worked for government. So then he explained that, like, if we divorce, we're gonna lose a spousal privilege. So he wants to go to the commission while we're still married.
All right, so we know that due to that security scare, Norma Mngoma Gigaba is going to finish off her testimony on Friday. Just to detail a little bit more of what she is standing by, her earlier testimony that her cell phones were taken, or that their cell phones were taken for security reasons when they visited the Guptas. Malusi Gigaba has responded, and he says that is an absolute lie. He's denying her claims that they discussed Eskom's Brian Dames being pushed to resign, and she says she distinctly remembers those conversations because Gigaba actually liked Dames very much, and she says the Guptas put pressure on her husband to get rid of Brian Dames. He is denying that, and he's denying as well that he frequently discussed any government business with her. The other issue that has come up, which I think is really important, is she's standing by that her husband was very upset about being moved from public enterprises back to the Ministry of Home Affairs. He believed at the time, she says, that it was due to the influence of SAA board chair Dudu Myeni and the Guptas. She says he couldn't ask the president why, because he told her that he couldn't ask about that in front of the top six. Malusi Gigaba in response saying this is absolutely ludicrous, unfounded speculation, it's a fabrication. He said his appointment as a minister would never be made in front of the ANC top six. He says this shows how far she is prepared to go to further a false narrative. You get two very different versions of the story. Very little agreement between these two estranged partners. It is going to be riveting tomorrow, on Friday, at the Commission, because Malusi Gigaba himself is indeed expected to testify before the Zondo Commission. So we'll have to watch that one and see what he says.